Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is, well, it's simple. We are plunging into a world where the physical reality of the landscape absolutely defies human imagination.
It really does.
When you picture, steep cliffs and deep waters, multiply that scale by 10, and you might start to get close to the hidden majesty of Norway.
And even then, you're probably not quite there.
Exactly. We are talking about a place where the waters are literally deeper than the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
Where towering cliffs were once, according to local mythology, used as fishing platforms by trolls, and where the human saga of resilience is literally written into the freezing rock face.
It truly is a journey into geological and cultural extremes.
Yeah.
What we see today is not simply beautiful scenery. It is a living, kinetic monument defined by immense geological history.
Right. It's not static.
Not at all. The entire region, from its jagged coastlines to the highest peaks, is fundamentally shaped by the relentless, patient, grinding forces of glacial activity.
We're talking about the last 10,000 to 20,000 years, right?
Precisely, during the Quaternary period. This process created a topography of staggering, dramatic contrasts. Fjords that plunge thousands of feet below sea level and peaks that soar just as high above.
And that extreme environment is the ultimate architect.
It is. It dictates everything.
Yeah.
From where settlements could survive, what traditions flourished, and the entire genetic biodiversity of the nation.
And the incredible opportunity we have in this deep dive is to get an immediate shortcut to understanding the sheer scale of these natural wonders, and crucially, to see how deeply rooted human culture is in this harsh environment.
It's a direct relationship.
We're talking about everything from how the Vikings navigated these deep, sheltered, watery chasms for their trade routes, to the intricate rise of Art Nouveau architecture in coastal cities, emerging from the ashes of disaster. It's the story of survival driven by geography.
Exactly. Our exploration is structured as a logical descent and ascent into that knowledge. We begin where the scale is most shocking, plunging into the immense depth of the fjords, analyzing the forces that carved them. Then we ascend, moving to the most iconic rock formations that mythology has claimed for its own.
Right.
We will then traverse the moving giants, the great glaciers, and the powerful waterfalls they feed, before concluding by exploring the incredibly resilient communities and unique engineering feats surviving at the literal Arctic edge.
Okay, let's unpack this and jump straight into Section 1, Sculpted by Ice, the Giants of the Deep. These waterways are Norway's signature.
They're iconic.
They are the definition of monumental scale. And we have to start with the true titan, the record holder.
Has to be Sognefjord.
When we talk about scale, we must begin with Sognefjord. It is the undisputed record holder. The sheer numbers are dizzying, even when you try to visualize them. It stretches an impressive 127 miles from the sea inland.
Just think about that distance for a second.
To put that in perspective, that's roughly the driving distance between London and Bristol, or a distance that takes up a significant portion of many U.S. states, all contained in a single body of water, a watery chasm that cuts deep into the continent.
And the length is only half the story. I would argue it's the less impressive half from a geological standpoint.
Really?
Yeah. What truly fascinates glaciologists and marine geologists is the extraordinary depth that accompanies that length. At its deepest point, Sognefjord plunges a mind-boggling 4,291 feet.
Okay, now that number is hard to contextualize.
Well, when you put that into a frame of reference that you can visualize, you realize that the deepest point of Sognefjord is actually deeper than the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
The Grand Canyon's deepest point is about 4,000 feet. So this fjord beats it.
That statistic is just genuinely humbling. It tells us that this is far more than just a big coastal inlet. It's one of the largest and most dramatically carved fjord systems in the entire world.
It is.
It covers a vast surface area of approximately 1,396 square miles, branching out into dozens of smaller, intricate fjords. It's no wonder it has been recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site.
Its existence is a testament to natural forces that just dwarf human endeavors, and that depth is critical to understanding the mechanism of formation.
Okay, so how does that work?
Glaciers don't just scratch the surface. They act like enormous slow-motion bulldozers with immense downward pressure. Sognefjord is a classic example of a U-shaped valley where the glacier, perhaps a mile thick, was forcing its way down and leveraging existing faults and weaknesses in the bedrock.
So the deeper it is, the bigger the glacier must have been.
Exactly. The deeper the carving, the longer the glacier must have persisted, and the larger its scale must have been. These fjords rarely freeze over precisely because they are so deep, meaning the huge volume of water acts as an enormous heat sink, moderated by the Gulf Stream.
Which is crucial for the coastal environment.
Absolutely.
And we can trace the geology directly to the environment it sustains. Sognefjord's vitality is intimately connected to the massive ice mass of Jostedalsbreen.
Precisely. Jostedalsbreen is the largest glacier on the mainland of Europe, spanning over 47 square miles. It acts as the primary source for the fjord's fresh water.
All that meltwater.
All of it, providing meltwater that is channeled down through tributary rivers. This flow is vital for shaping the immediate landscape. It transports fine sediment that settles out and forms deltas, and it also influences the salinity gradient of the fjord.
Which in turn feeds the rich marine ecosystem found in the depths.
Right, supporting various unique cod and herring species.
Now, if Sognefjord holds the record for sheer length and scale, Fjord is perhaps best known for its staggering blend of natural drama and human cultivation. It's the second longest fjord, stretching over 110 miles, and it matches Sognefjord in depth, reaching approximately 4,500 feet.
But what is truly striking about Hardanger is the incredible cultural contrast it presents.
This is where we shift from raw geology to applied human ecology. Despite this rugged, dramatic, and incredibly deep landscape, which seems entirely unforgiving.
You'd think nothing could grow there.
Exactly. But the area surrounding Fjord is home to the world's largest concentration of fruit orchards in Norway. We are talking about around 2,500 acres dedicated specifically to growing apples and cherries. That is a beautiful and frankly surprising juxtaposition. Sheer glacial walls rising thousands of feet next to delicate, highly specialized cultivation.
It is.
That juxtaposition isn't just scenic, it's a direct consequence of the geographical structure we just discussed. How can fragile fruit trees thrive at such a high northern latitude?
It comes down to thermal buffering and microclimate creation.
Okay.
The deep, massive body of water in the fjord acts like a gigantic heat sink, capturing and storing heat from the relatively warmer Gulf Stream currents.
So it regulates the temperature.
It does. This trapped, warm, moist air prevents harsh, sudden frosts that would typically wipe out fruit blossoms. Essentially, the deep fjord transforms a potentially deadly high-latitude landscape into a hyperproductive and temperate agricultural microclimate.
A perfect example of human endeavor adapting to leverage a massive natural feature.
That's it.
And culturally, the region's identity is absolutely intertwined with this geographically isolated environment. The traditional Norwegian instrument, the Hardanger fiddle, is a beautiful symbol of the rich musical heritage that developed in these valleys.
Yes, the Hardanger fiddle, or hardingfil, is distinct. It has 4 or 5 primary strings and 4 or 5 sympathetic strings underneath the fingerboard that vibrate in resonance.
So it creates a richer sound.
A very rich, almost melancholic sound, which reflects the relative isolation and deep connection to nature found in these fjord communities. This musical tradition developed in valleys that were difficult to access by land, reinforcing a strong local cultural identity for centuries.
And looking back further, you see the strategic importance of this geography. These fjords were not just natural features.
No, they were defensive and economic highways.
Right.
The region's history includes significant events, such as the Battle of Ullevang in 1181. This wasn't just a random skirmish. It demonstrates how the narrow, defensible arms of the fjord system,
These deep, unfreezing waterways,
have always been central to regional control and identity, serving as crucial logistical and strategic routes long before modern roads or railways existed. The fjords were the ultimate infrastructure of the Viking Age and beyond.
Moving on to the unique qualities, let's discuss the more intricate members of the fjord family. Geiranger Fjord, also a UNESCO site, is defined by striking contrasts. It plunges about 1,500 feet below sea level, yet its towering vertical cliffs host waterfall cascades that plummet more than 900 feet straight into the water.
And the human history of Geiranger is as dramatic as the scenery. It boasts a rich history of human settlement dating back over 1,000 years, with recorded farming activity from as early as the 11th century.
When you observe those historic farms like Skaglo, you are looking at 1,000 years of pure human tenacity.
They literally cling to steep, often sunless, unforgiving cliff faces, demonstrating an extreme form of agricultural tradition shaped by the need for any available flat ground.
And that rugged terrain, which is so hostile to human settlement, serves as a natural fortress for wildlife.
It offers refuge and serves as a crucial biodiversity haven for a thriving population of the black grouse, a fascinating bird species.
Why the black grouse specifically?
The black grouse is a perfect indicator species for this kind of landscape. It relies on the complex mix of mountain birch forests and open moorland found high on the fjord walls. The sheer difficulty of the terrain ensures less human interference.
Allowing them to thrive.
Exactly, allowing these unique species to utilize the steep slopes and high elevation for both breeding and shelter, perfectly exemplifying how wildlife adapts to utilize this complex natural structure.
Next, we have Fjord, a true geological rarity. It is famous globally for being one of the narrowest fjords in the world.
It's incredible.
It stretches only about 1,300 feet or 400 meters wide at its tightest point. Looking at the map, it almost seems like an impossible crack in the earth.
That crack is a monument to glacial precision. This incredible tight feature was carved by intense glacial activity over 20,000 years ago.
So a different kind of carving process.
A more focused one. Glacial erosion often created broader U-shaped valleys, but Neri's exceptional narrowness highlights a specific, massive force concentrating on an ancient, deep fracture line in the rock.
And here's a surprise that counters its narrow appearance.
The depth.
The depth. Despite its tight confines, it is over 1,800 feet deep. This vast underwater chasm supports an incredibly diverse range of deep-water marine life, shielded from the heavy waves of the ocean.
Right.
What I found most compelling about Fjord is its relative seclusion. Despite being a UNESCO World Heritage Site and close to incredibly popular destinations, less than 10% of visitors to Norway actually venture into this narrow channel.
That statistic is very telling. It genuinely remains a hidden gem for those seeking profound tranquility. The limited visitor traffic allows the natural sounds, the gentle lapping of water, the distant echo of a waterfall to dominate,
creating an atmosphere of deep solitude.
And it allows nature to remain largely untouched, while a few traditional Norwegian farms still operate in the immediate surrounding region, maintaining a genuine, uncommercialized connection to the land.
Speaking of depth and trade, let's discuss Fjord. It is another essential component of the greater Sognefjord system.
A vital one, historically.
It plunges over 1,300 feet and was historically vital during the Viking Age.
Fjord's role in the Viking era cannot be overstated. It was a crucial trade route. Consider the logistics. Navigating the open North Sea was treacherous, but once a longship reached the fjord mouth,
they could sail over 100 miles inland on calm, deep, sheltered waters.
Exactly. This was essential for trade, allowing them to bypass dangerous coastal travel and access the high mountain passes for overland connections to eastern Norway. You can still see beautiful remnants of ancient farms scattered across the cultural landscape here.
A testament to these early economic hubs. And here's a surprising climate fact that explains the immense greenery we associate with these deep valleys. The rain. This area experiences an astonishing average yearly rainfall of around 89 inches.
89 inches is tremendous. That's nearly 3 times the average rainfall of London. That immense precipitation is what continuously feeds the powerful waterfalls and contributes to the incredibly lush, vibrant scenery.
So that's the source of that deep green landscape.
It supports ancient, dense forests that are themselves biodiversity hazens, creating a permanent, verdant landscape even in summer. This is nature's constant infusion of lifeblood, powered by the Atlantic weather systems crashing into the high coastal mountains.
That volume of water certainly shapes everything. And for the adventurous visitor looking for that intimate connection, the region is known for the unique local practice of fjorded camping, allowing people to camp right by the water's edge, surrounded by those stunning, sheer mountain walls.
It's an immersive, unique way to experience that ancient environment, but it requires respecting the immense power of the geography. You are, after all, camping at the foot of cliffs that rise thousands of feet above you.
A reminder that the land is still the dominant force.
Always.
So we've plunged to depths of over 4,500 feet, exploring how geology creates microclimates and cultural history. Now, let's pivot and look straight up. We leave the water for the stone.
To the vertical world.
We transition now to the vertical landscape, focusing on the sheer height and the geological forces that carved Norway's most iconic landmarks. We must start with the iconography of the Ice Age, and that means Trolltunga.
The Troll's Tongue.
The Troll's Tongue.
Trolltunga is not just a viewpoint. It's a sheer statement of geology. It's a breathtaking vantage point, a massive slab of rock that juts out an astounding 2,300 feet above the waters of Lake Ringard's-Vatnet.
It's a spectacular geological remnant created during the last ice age over 10,000 years ago. But the mechanism of its creation is key to appreciating it. How does rock erode around a horizontal piece, leaving it suspended in midair?
It's a story of pressure and fracture. The cliff face itself is composed primarily of a very hard metamorphic rock called gneiss. During the Ice Age, the sheer weight of the ice sheet, we're talking miles of ice, caused massive internal stress in the rock structure. As the glacier retreated, the immense pressure was released, causing the rock mass to fracture deeply along pre-existing vertical joints.
And Trolltunga is what was left.
It's essentially the horizontal slice of rock that survived the fracture and, due to frost action and weathering, was slowly pulled away, leaving it suspended like a gigantic, gravity-defying shelf.
The platform itself measures approximately 90 feet in length, providing those dramatic photo opportunities that have made it globally famous.
And that fame is measurable.
This incredible spectacle attracts up to 100,000 visitors annually, drawn by the sheer drama of standing on the edge of the abyss.
And that dizzying height naturally connects the landscape back to mythology. Local legends suggest that Trolltunga was once a platform for trolls to fish. Think about that. Mythology claiming trolls use that dizzying height for such a mundane yet scaled-up task. What it tells us is that the original inhabitants perceived this landscape as belonging to gigantic, superhuman entities, because its scale was simply beyond the human realm.
This folklore infuses the site with a deep cultural richness, enhancing the physical experience.
It does.
It's also an important ecological zone. Despite the harsh exposure, the area is a confirmed biodiversity hotspot, home to more than 80 species of birds,
including various specialized raptors that utilize the sheer updrafts for hunting. The ecological value is immense, especially considering the altitude.
You wouldn't expect much life up there.
But the combination of water, high-altitude exposure, and varying rock temperatures creates a challenging habitat that supports a wide variety of native plants, including lichens and mosses that thrive by clinging directly to the cold, rugged rock. It's a vibrant ecosystem.
Next, let's look at Preikestolen, or Pulpit Rock.
Another icon.
Talk about absolute drama. This massive cliff rises a staggering 1,982 feet directly above the deep, dark waters of the Fjord. Like Trolltunga, it was shaped over approximately 10,000 years by glacial activity,
which sculpted its distinct, iconic flat top. But the drama is certainly there, and what's impressive is the sheer geometry. The formation is a huge, relatively rectangular block separated from the main cliff by deep, water-filled fissures.
So it's another case of fracturing.
Geologically, it's a massive block that fractured away from the rest of the mountain along massive intersecting joint lines, a classic result of pressure release after the glacier retreated. The flat top wasn't carved smooth, it was simply the top surface of this massive block that was left exposed.
And the journey to the top is part of the experience. The accessibility of Preikestolen is key to its popularity. The hiking trail stretches about 3.8 miles and typically takes 2 to 3 hours.
With an elevation gain of over 1,600 feet, it's an achievable feat for most, which is why it's so popular. But let me push back on that volume of traffic for a moment. With that many visitors, and you mentioned it attracts huge crowds, does the sheer volume of human traffic and footsteps risk damaging the fragile geology of that particular massive block, especially given the visible fissures?
That's a valid, critical question regarding environmental stewardship. The Norwegian authorities have certainly focused on managing the immense traffic, but the rock itself is incredibly durable, mainly granite.
Okay.
What helps is the size of the summit. Unlike many popular narrow viewpoints, Preikestolen's flat summit spans roughly 22,000 square feet.
That's huge.
That huge capacity allows numerous visitors to enjoy the stunning views simultaneously, spreading out the physical impact and making it a powerful shared experience amid nature's splendor.
And its vast, stable expanse means it holds significant modern cultural importance, too. It serves as a popular site for outdoor festivals and gatherings.
Imagine a concert or a yoga session taking place 2,000 feet above the fjord.
It reflects the community's enduring, almost sacred connection to this natural landmark.
Our third, and perhaps most visually shocking, geological spectacle is the one that causes the most genuine vertigo: Bolton.
Ah, yes.
This is the striking visual of a 220-ton boulder wedged precariously between two sheer cliffs, standing 3,228 feet above the Fjord. It looks entirely impossible.
Its impossibility is precisely why we need to understand the geological mechanics. Bolton is not native granite like the cliffs. It's a distinct boulder of dolerite, a much harder, resistant, intrusive rock.
So it's a foreign object, geologically speaking.
It is. It was formed during the last ice age, about 12,000 years ago. As the massive glacier moved through this area, it ground away the softer surrounding rock. The boulder, being incredibly hard, resisted erosion and was carried along, eventually becoming lodged in a pressure-released fissure as the ice retreated.
So it's essentially a giant geological errant, perfectly locked in place through pressure release and erosion, sitting in a narrow crack.
Precisely. The glacier did two things. It smoothed the surrounding cliffs, and it transported this exceptionally tough dolerite rock. When the ice melted away, the boulder was left suspended. Not precariously in the sense that it is about to fall, but precariously in the sense that it relies on that perfect wedging geometry.
It's a clear, physical glimpse into the sheer monumental forces that shape this part of Norway.
There really is.
It's also a demanding pilgrimage for those who want to stand on it. The height to the boulder is about 5.5 miles round trip, with an elevation gain of 1,150 feet. It's an adventurous trek involving climbing steep, sometimes chain-assisted sections.
The reward is panoramic views that truly showcase nature's power, but it's definitely not for the faint of heart.
We move now from the dramatic coastal cliffs to the ultimate high ground, the inland peaks, Jotunheimen National Park.
The home of the giants.
The name itself directly connects these dramatic peaks to Norse mythology.
This park is the highest area of the country, geographically and spiritually. It features Gullpuppigen, which is Norway's highest peak, reaching 8,100 feet above sea level.
Ranking it among the tallest mountains in northern Europe.
It does. That height attracts serious mountaineers and hikers eager to experience its majestic, often snow-capped surroundings year-round.
The scale of the park is truly vast, spanning over 1,300 square miles. It's dedicated to safeguarding massive, permanent glaciers, deep mountain lakes, and rugged terrain.
And the sheer number of high points is astounding.
The park boasts more than 250 peaks that exceed 6,600 feet, inviting enthusiasts to roam and explore.
The mythological connection is deeply woven into the landscape's identity. In Norse cosmology, Jotunheimen was the stronghold of the Jotnar, the giants, who were often considered forces of chaos and destruction, battling the gods of Asgard.
And the landscape fits that description perfectly.
The sheer size, the treacherous weather, and the dramatic, chaotic peaks. It all fits. It provides a unique, ancient narrative to the landscapes you traverse. It's a place where you feel genuinely small, reinforcing that connection to ancient storytelling.
Now that we've established the scale of the static stone, let's shift our focus to the moving, dynamic power of the landscape.
From static rock to flowing ice.
We're leaving the static rock for the transformative and sometimes volatile elements of ice and powerful water.
This is where it gets really interesting.
We have to start this section by talking about the true architects of this entire landscape. The glaciers. These aren't just frozen features. They are dynamic forces, climate recorders, and moving giants. Let's return to Jostedalsbreen.
The European mainland giant. It's immense, covering 47 square miles, and it has existed for over 14,000 years, making it a pivotal subject for Earth's climatic history studies.
And for glaciologists, it's a critical study subject.
Absolutely, because it reaches a maximum thickness of around 1,600 feet in some areas. That is a colossal weight resting on the bedrock, constantly shaping and polishing the Earth below it.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the common assumption is that glaciers are static. But the truth is that glaciers like Jostedalsbreen move or flow.
They are literally sliding forward.
Can you elaborate on the mechanism of that movement?
Absolutely. The movement is not uniform. It's an extremely slow, complex combination of two key processes: plastic flow and basal sliding.
Okay, what's plastic flow?
Plastic flow is the internal deformation, where the ice crystals themselves bend and shift under the immense pressure, allowing the glacier to act like extremely cold, slow-moving taffy.
And basal sliding.
That's perhaps the more dramatic mechanism. The pressure at the very bottom layer of the glacier melts the ice, creating a thin film of water. This water acts as a lubricant, allowing the entire massive ice mass to slide over the bedrock like a giant slow-motion sled.
At what kind of speed?
Moving at speeds that can range from several inches to a few feet per day in certain active areas.
That constant slow-motion movement is the very definition of geological transformation, perpetually reshaping the valleys we discussed earlier.
And the impact of that movement is crucial for the ecosystem. The melting ice from Jostedalsbreen feeds the surrounding lush valleys and fjords, but it also carries fine sediment rock flour, which is highly mineralized.
So it's fertilizing the water?
In a way, yes. When this enters the fjords, it creates the distinctive turquoise color in the water and introduces nutrients that support diverse ecosystems, including rare plant species and local wildlife. It's a perfect illustration of the interconnectedness of ice, climate, and biological cycles.
We have a sibling giant that offers vital scientific insight, Fjords Glacier.
Also about 47 square miles, so geographically larger than the entire physical footprint of the city of Seattle.
And it holds invaluable historical and climatic data.
It does. Because of the way the ice compresses and traps atmospheric elements year after year, ice cores extracted from this glacier reveal detailed climate patterns spanning the last 700 years.
Wow.
This provides scientists with crucial quantifiable information used to study historical weather phenomena and, critically, measure the accelerating effects of recent climate shifts in the Arctic region. It's a 700-year timeline written in frozen water.
It also provides a spectacular visual show. A unique phenomenon known as ice carving occurs here.
Right, where large chunks of ice break off and fall into the fjords below. It's a term for the dramatic, ephemeral calving process. It's a loud, often violent spectacle as the pressure builds and large sections of ice separate.
And for the adventurous, this area offers the highly unusual opportunity for summer skiing.
Which seems impossible, but it's possible because the altitude and the sheer mass of the ice act as a cold reservoir, allowing certain ski resorts to operate lift systems directly onto the glacier, attracting enthusiasts even in the warmer months of June and July.
We must also look far north, to the Arctic edge, to the Lyngen Alps. This stunning, jagged mountain range showcases the Lyngen Glacier,
which is the world's northernmost glacier, stretching over 6.2 miles. The formation of the Lyngen Alps is a blend of immense forces. It's defined by both ancient glacial erosion and significant tectonic uplift that occurred millions of years ago,
resulting in incredibly dramatic, sharp peaks soaring over 5,600 feet.
The region is stark, beautiful, and deeply remote.
Despite its remoteness and cold environment, the biodiversity supported by this area is incredible. Spanning about 550 square miles, the Lyngen Alps are home to more than 12,250 species of plants and animals. How do plants survive near the Arctic Circle?
They're defined by a process called cryogenic hardening. They have evolved specific mechanisms to survive deep freezes, high wind exposure, and the intense high UV exposure that comes with the unique light environment here.
And that light environment is extreme.
It is. During the summer, the area is renowned for its midnight sun, offering up to 24 hours of daylight for months on end.
Think about that, a full 24 hours of daylight, a constant, unrelenting solar presence. That continuous light doesn't just change the plants. It fundamentally alters the local wildlife's natural behaviors.
It disrupts standard day-night cycles. It forces adaptations in everything from feeding patterns to reproductive cycles. For humans, it fundamentally alters the perception of time and sleep.
It's a physical manifestation of the extreme high-latitude environment,
forcing a profound biological and psychological pause for reflection on the very definition of a day.
Before we move to waterfalls, let's briefly integrate a necessary cultural counterpoint to the dynamic sea. We've talked about nature carving the path. Let's talk about humanity defying it.
The Atlantic Ocean Road.
The Atlantic Ocean Road.
That is an absolute engineering marvel, especially when you consider the relentless forces of the Norwegian Sea. The Atlantic Ocean Road is a 5.1-mile masterpiece that features 8 bridges, seamlessly connecting a chain of small islands and skerries.
The challenges were monumental. It required the movement of over 200,000 cubic yards of rock and earth, often in the face of brutal North Atlantic storms.
It is a powerful symbol of how human ingenuity can integrate infrastructure into this hostile, dynamic environment, creating a spectacular drive that allows travelers to experience the raw, moving power of the coastline up close.
It's a testament to the belief that access and connection are worth the extreme effort.
It bridges the gaps carved by geology, literally connecting remote communities that were previously isolated by the sea.
Shifting from the frozen dynamic power to the fluid power, let's turn to the waterfalls. These are the veins of the glacial system,
channeling that meltwater and precipitation.
We start with Veringsfossen, one of Norway's most spectacular.
The scale of Veringsfossen often surprises visitors. It cascades an impressive 590 feet.
To put that vertical drop into perspective,
Veringsfossen is demonstrably higher than both Niagara Falls and the main drop of Yosemite Falls. Its formation dates back to the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, when glacial activity sculpted the dramatic valley it flows into.
What's also notable is its complexity and volume. Veringsfossen features a combined total of 12 separate waterfalls that flow into the Mobodalen Valley,
making it one of the most intricate and visually overwhelming waterfall systems in Norway. And here's a detail that connects this immense natural wonder to modern innovation and industry.
Okay.
Veringsfossen was historically significant because it was once the site of an early hydroelectric power plant. Constructed in 1915, it harnessed the reliable, immense energy of the falling water to generate electricity.
This shows the long history of harnessing this immense natural power, a cornerstone of Norway's national energy grid today.
Exactly.
Veringsfossen is strategically located, serving as a gateway to Hardangervidda National Park.
Which is home to Europe's largest mountain plateau, an expansive, high-altitude landscape. That plateau is biologically unique. It is famously inhabited by vast numbers of wild reindeer who roam freely across this huge, open expanse.
Following migratory routes that have been established for millennia. We have a second, equally important waterfall to discuss, Månefossen. Standing at 302 feet, it is one of the tallest free-falling waterfalls in the region.
Månefossen served a vital function in local history and industrial development. Its consistent flow made it a primary power source for early mills during the late 19th century.
So this waterfall essentially fueled the beginning of localized industrialization in the region,
highlighting its essential role in the local community's development beyond subsistence farming.
The power here is measurable and terrifying. During the spring thaw, when the snowpack melts and runs off the high plateau, the waterfall's flow can reach an impressive 12,000 liters per second.
That's equivalent to over 3,170 gallons of water rushing over the edge every single second. That is immense, raw hydraulic power.
And that volume supports more than just industry. The surrounding area is nestled in lush scenery, and, like the mountain peaks, is rich in local folklore about trolls and spirits.
Right, who allegedly inhabit the spray and the dark pools below the falls. This adds a cultural depth that draws adventurous travelers eager to explore the powerful stories associated with this monumental natural force.
That power, that sheer geological scale, is the dynamic backdrop for the final, most interesting piece of our deep dive: how humanity has managed to adapt, survive, and thrive on the literal edge of the Arctic.
This is where it gets truly fascinating.
This section is about human resilience. We start with the Lofoten Islands, a place where tradition and breathtaking nature blend perfectly. They are globally famous for their world's largest stockfish production, exporting more than 1,500 tons annually.
The economy of Lofoten is built on frozen cod and the wind. The history of this industry is ancient. The Lofoten Islands were settled by Vikings around 1000 AD in Volgan, who utilized the area's exceptionally rich cod fisheries.
And the practice of producing stockfish is key.
It is. It involves drying the fish naturally on wooden racks in the cold, dry air. Crucially, the process requires zero salt or preservatives, making it incredibly lightweight and durable for trade.
A factor that made it a vital currency and trade item across Europe during the Middle Ages.
Exactly.
Despite their immense popularity among tourists, the Lofoten Islands maintain a remarkably low population density, only about 40 people per square mile.
Which means the stunning backdrop of jagged peaks, including Reinebringen, which reaches 1,320 feet, remains largely unspoiled.
And speaking of those peaks, the tiny village of Rein is often cited as Norway's most photographed.
Its backdrop consists of dramatic, shark-toothed peaks that rise sharply over 3,000 feet directly from the fjord water, creating a truly jaw-dropping sight. This village was established in the 16th century, specifically as a fishing hub.
Central to the immense stockfish trade, and the iconic red fishermen's cabins, known as robier, perfectly reflect that rich cultural heritage.
These cabins were originally built on poles out over the water, designed to house seasonal fishermen who travel to Lofoten for the winter cod season. Today, they offer a unique glimpse into the local way of life, often repurposed for modern tourism.
Now let's discuss an extreme natural spectacle that directly supports that massive marine life: Saltstraumen.
Home to the world's strongest tidal current. This is raw, dynamic, and massive hydrodynamic power. The tidal currents here flow at speeds of up to 22 knots, or about 25 miles per hour.
Faster than most sailboats can travel.
And this force creates massive whirlpools, known as maelstroms, that can reach diameters of 30 feet.
What's the mechanism behind that immense force? Why here?
It's a classic geological funnel combined with enormous tidal volume. The sheer force isn't just speed, it's volume. Saltstraumen is a narrow 1.9-mile-long channel that connects the massive waters of the Saltfjord with the inner Fjord.
So it's a bottleneck.
A huge bottleneck. Twice daily, as the massive Atlantic tide changes, it is forced to squeeze 660,000 gallons of water per second through this tight gap between two islands. This creates one of the world's greatest natural hydropressures, violently mixing the water.
That phenomenal mixing has a massive impact on the marine environment.
It's an ecological engine. The intense swirling currents pull deep-sea nutrients up to the surface and oxygenate the water column, supporting a thriving biomass. For over 1,000 years, Saltstraumen has served as a vital fishing ground.
Attracting huge schools of cod, halibut, and scallops.
Right, and the rich environment also attracts top predators. You often see giant sea eagles hovering above, effortlessly searching for fish.
The human history is just as deep. Saltstraumen features ancient rock carvings that date back to the Stone Age,
illustrating a continuous human history of utilizing this powerful, reliable natural phenomenon for sustenance over 10 millennia.
Moving from raw nature to architectural resilience, let's look at Ålesund. This city is renowned for its unique Art Nouveau architectural style.
Boasting over 400 buildings constructed after a devastating fire in 1904. This remarkable collection is one of the largest concentrations of such architecture in Europe.
The fire in 1904 completely destroyed 850 houses and left 10,000 people homeless in a single night.
And the rebuilding effort, supported by international aid, adopted the prevailing Art Nouveau style, which was highly fashionable at the time. It was a conscious choice, a modern, hopeful style, but it also suited the region.
How so?
Art Nouveau, or Jugendstil, often incorporates natural motifs, curves, waves, and organic shapes. This aesthetic felt deeply appropriate for a city built on the dramatic, wave-swept coastline.
And the city's geography is just as unique as its architecture. Ålesund is built on a series of small islands linked by bridges and tunnels,
earning it the nickname, the Venice of Norway, due to its charming fjord-influenced waterways. It's a city entirely integrated with the marine environment.
And just nearby, the Sunnmøre Alps rise majestically to over 6,500 feet.
Providing an extraordinary playground for nature lovers. The area attracts approximately 1.3 million outdoor enthusiasts each year, drawn by the hiking and skiing opportunities, illustrating how the city is seamlessly integrated into this stunning vista.
Now let's introduce a key piece of cultural heritage that ties back to those early industries, a perfect counterpoint to the coastal fishing. Røros.
Røros is a remarkable place. It's one of the best preserved wooden towns in Europe, featuring over 150 historic wooden buildings dating back to the 17th century.
And its existence is entirely rooted in copper mining that began in 1644.
This wasn't just a brief mining operation. This was a massive, sustained industry that defined the town's entire layout and cultural life for over 300 years. The wooden architecture, often built for workers and miners, reflects a deep cultural heritage and a sophisticated organizational structure designed to withstand extreme inland temperatures.
We're heading further north now, deep into the true Arctic. Tromsø is often referred to as the gateway to the Arctic.
Tromsø is a beacon of human innovation in the extreme north. It hosts some fascinating details born from its environment, including the world's northernmost brewery.
And they use pure, mineral-rich glacier water.
A direct and literal connection to the Arctic environment and the dynamics of the ice sheet.
And historically, Tromsø was absolutely central to polar exploration in the 19th and early 20th centuries, serving as a vital launch point for numerous expeditions.
Including those led by figures like Roald Amundsen, aimed at reaching the North Pole. It was the last outpost of civilization before plunging into the unknown Arctic waters.
And of course, the light conditions here are extreme and defining. From late November to mid-January, Tromsø experiences the polar night.
A unique phenomenon where the sun does not rise for about 30 days. This is not total darkness. Rather, it's a period dominated by a continuous blue hour, a deep twilight that allows for exceptional sightings of the northern lights.
The psychological impact of the polar night is profound, forcing a mental adjustment to continuous twilight. But it's a captivating experience for visitors.
Despite the darkness, there is incredibly vibrant life sustained by the land. Tromsø is central to the cultural practices of the indigenous Sami people, and the surrounding area is home to one of the world's largest gatherings of semi-domesticated reindeer, over 18,000 of them.
There are seasonal herding cycles, dictated by the ancient rhythm of the Arctic landscape.
And the available grazing.
Let's push even further to the geographic extreme. Nordkapp, or North Cape. This is often referred to as the northernmost point of mainland Europe.
Located an astonishing 12,240 miles from the North Pole. Historically, Nordkapp served a critical role in maritime history, acting as a crucial, unmistakable navigation point for sailors since the 16th century.
For centuries, for explorers pushing east or navigating the Barents Sea, it genuinely marked the edge of the known world.
It really did during the age of exploration.
The plateau itself sits about 1,000 feet above sea level, offering dramatic panoramic views of the Arctic Ocean. And here is where the midnight sun we discussed earlier plays a vital role.
During the summer months, you can spot reindeer grazing alongside the cliffs during 24 hours of daylight, utilizing the prolonged feeding time. This area supports unique, specialized Arctic flora and fauna that have adapted to those specific high-latitude conditions.
Finally, we must discuss the ultimate human settlement in the world, Longyearbyen on Svalbard.
This location is so far north that it's just 1,300 meters from the North Pole, almost the literal top of the world.
And the statistics from Longyearbyen are the most jarring illustration of the human-nature balance in the Arctic.
Polar bears outnumber the human population here, with approximately 3,000 bears compared to around 2,000 permanent residents. It was founded in 1906 as a coal mining town, but has evolved into a prominent global research hub.
And this remote frozen location also holds immense global significance. It is the site of the Svalbard Global Seed Vault.
The Seed Vault is an active planetary foresight. It preserves over 1 million unique seed varieties in a massive facility designed to withstand global disasters, essentially acting as humanity's backup agricultural hard drive.
And the location was chosen for two specific geographic reasons, right?
Correct. First, the geological stability means it is protected from seismic activity. And second, the permafrost, the continuously frozen ground, provides natural, reliable, and passive refrigeration, ensuring the seeds remain viable even without constant electricity.
And here is an intriguing legal quirk that speaks directly to the extreme environment and the constant, overwhelming presence of those polar bears.
It is highly regulated.
And some areas make it effectively illegal to own a dog in Longyearbyen.
That regulation is specifically in place to minimize any human-introduced disturbance to local wildlife, particularly the polar bears, compelling residents to seek alternatives for transportation and recreation.
Like using snowmobiles.
Or utilizing local dog sled teams for specific trips. It's a place where environmental safety protocols dictate municipal law, underscoring the dominance of the Arctic environment.
We've seen the depths, the heights, the constant motion of the ice and water, and the extremes of human adaptation. So, what does this all mean when we truly connect the dots?
We have spent our time traversing thousands of years of geological time today, moving from the moment the ice began to carve these massive trenches to the ingenious ways humanity has recently adapted.
Right.
Everything we discussed, the fjords plunging 4,500 feet, the mountains rising 8,100 feet, the constant dynamism of glaciers moving inches every day, and the power of tidal currents shifting 660,000 gallons of water per second. All of it is a direct and cumulative result of immense, patient geological time and extreme environmental conditions.
And the cultural responses are magnificent. Whether it's the ancient, specialized stockfish trade in Lofoten, the resilience shown by rebuilding the city of Ålesund in the unique Art Nouveau style after the fire, or the deep cultural heritage preserved in the wooden mining town of Røros, every human adaptation is a response to this magnificent, powerful, and demanding geographical stage.
We also saw the triumph of human ingenuity in the face of nature's volatility, like the construction of the Atlantic Ocean Road, defying the relentless North Atlantic, or the historical construction of the dam at Lake Lubetnet in 1938.
A direct human effort built to manage the threat of catastrophic flooding caused by massive prehistoric rock slides.
That was essential stewardship to safeguard communities.
I bet the threat is changing, and the speed of that change is accelerating. The sources tell us that the average temperature in Longyearbyen, our northernmost settlement on Svalbard, has risen about 7 degrees Fahrenheit over the last 50 years.
A staggering number.
We know massive glaciers are constantly moving, but now they're moving faster and retreating more drastically than ever before. Given these rapid climate shifts and the dramatic ancient nature of these wonders, what new essential human innovation must emerge next to safeguard these incredible landscapes? What's the next great act of environmental stewardship that this unique geography now demands from us to protect the majesty that the ice took millions of years to carve?
It's a compelling and urgent question. It connects our deep understanding of the geological past to the immediate pressing needs of the future preservation of these unique wonders.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the hidden majesty of Norway.